Hey, and welcome to Good Morning Sunshine, where we wake up to see that perspective reveals miracles. I'm Callie Carroll, your host, and today we're taking it back in time to one of my many live videos that I used to do before podcasting was really a thing. Don't mind the authenticity and the, maybe extra studio sounds. I have 4 kids, so it gets a little crazy. But here's the deal. I'm hitting you up as my authentic self, reminding you that none of us are perfect. None of us are perfect, and life is crazy, hectic, amazing. So just enjoy the ride. Buenos dias. Sonreís. I don't know. Sunshines. Good morning, sunshines. How are you guys doing this fine day? Thank you for joining us for our miracle morning together. We're going to talk about parenting today, which is going to be so much fun. But first, what we're going to do is we're going to share our gratitude. So for me, I wake up and I have gratitude for my alarm. This is one of the only days I use an alarm is when I have my team meetings, because I get up at a certain time for a meeting where usually I just wake up when my eyes open, which is still very early. But so thankful for my alarms. Thankful I didn't poke my eye out. I don't know how I woke myself up, but I just jammed my own hand into my eye. Anybody else ever do this? So I'm thankful for sight today. I'm thankful that I can see with both of mine eyes because I really enjoy seeing things. So what are you thankful for? It obviously can be anything, right? Don't hold anything back because you can be thankful for all of it. And what we do is just share one thing that makes you feel gratitude in your heart, especially if you're having not the best morning. That's when you want to start to find some things because it can help you pull yourself out of the funk a little bit, because maybe you woke up with a little bit of a funk going on. I'm thankful for weather, sunroof, quiet time. Beautiful, Nikki. And then like Nikki did there, we love to practice some of our I ams. And she says, I am beautiful, I am blessed, I am happy, I am joyful, I am creative. I love the I am joy, like joyful joy, like just that feeling of being able to spread positivity and light. I love that piece of it. So very cool. Yes, it's going to be a much better day and I will not poke my eyes out. So share something there. And then today's focus is on visualization before we get into parenting real quick here. When we're talking about our savers and we focus on those different components to help you find a way to do your miracle morning, one of the pieces is visualization. And you guys, in that, it's really seeing the life that you want to create for yourself. And so many of us get stuck in the now and we get stuck being stuck. Like things just are the way they are. We just kind of deal with it. It just is the way it is. And then that's how we live into our lives instead of really creatively thinking about what would really make us feel fulfilled, happy, like we're doing what we were meant to do here. And that's where the visualization starts to come through, is to see it. It's sometimes it's so far out there. It's hard to do. It's like, oh, I don't want to have you guys ever heard this? I don't want to tease myself. I don't want to just I'm not going to make that stuff up because I'm never going to be that good or it's never going to happen. Then that's what you're creating. But when you start to transition that into seeing the vision, just like you're watching a movie, eventually you'll start to own that movie a little bit more. So give yourself some permission to visualize. And then like Nikki's visualizing that next Wednesday she's on a plane to Florida. I love it. What are you guys visualizing in your life right now? I know some people just joined us where they're visualizing some major positive transitions in their life. Maybe you're going through just some total crap right now where you're having a hard time. Each day is tough. Pull yourself out of that mental stimulation of the negativity and visualize what it would be like on the other side of the coin and start to feel like what does that make you feel? And you'll start to act differently and things will start to show up differently in your life. So hopefully that helps with you guys. If you want to share some of your visualizations, I can't ever take time to do that on here because mine are just crazy and it takes me forever to go through all of the stuff I visualize. Maybe I will one day. I have a little bit with you. I want to talk about parenting for a second, which I know is a super touchy subject. So some of you may not like this. We are talking about the difference of grit and perseverance and passion and how they intertwine together and how we can each find our grit when we find our passion. And you kind of want those to go hand in hand, right? So in developing our kids, and actually when I was listening to this, it directly associates with our own, I would almost say oh man, what is that called when you can't breathe? Why am I cannot remember? Suffocating ourselves. We do it to ourselves as adults too. But with your babies, and as you're raising them, and when you look at what you're pushing them to be or to do, Here's the presentation, and this is coming from Angela's like teaching, which I just really enjoyed, is how much are you being an overbearing parent? How much are you up and in their lives and like not, I don't want to say like meddling because you want to be actively involved, but how much are you pushing you onto them so that you're making the decisions for them, and you're like, they've got this life of this blank canvas, right? Where they can create anything on it. And they have all of the creativity and the perspective, passion to do that. But instead of giving them a palette of colors, you give them blue and red. That's all you want to paint with. Does that make sense? So like, it's like where they've got all, like the world is at their fingertips, but you say, nope, nope, nope. I'm not going to expose you to these things in terms of an overbearing. I'm only going to give you access to this, and that's what you're going to do, and that's what you're going to roll with. And a lot of us, and I've seen it within myself, within different friends, what we can tend to do is start to feel like we're not over parenting, but it's like I'm really parenting well. Like I really get actively involved in their life. And what happens is you can create so much influence upon them that they become you instead of getting to be who they prospectively want to be. And then what can happen is they can lose their access to find their passion because they don't have the full palette of what their passion might be, right? So this book is all about finding your passion, because when you have your passion in life and you're working towards that, your grit, your tenacity, the way you go after things and reach a new level of success in something is so much more because you're operating from the heart. You're not doing what somebody else wants you to do. Have you ever been stuck in a job that's like, anybody out there, I'm in a job that I really don't love? Like it's just not really my thing. I'm not super passionate about it. And if so, are you moving up the chain of that job? Like, are you really pushing hard? Are you working the extra couple hours a night to get to the next level? Most likely not, if you're not really enjoying what you're doing, if you're not passionate about what you have going on. Now with your kids, they have this world ahead of them where, let's just take sports for an example, okay? I was a gymnast growing up. My husband played soccer. So when we had our babies, did we hope that they were going to do those two sports? Absolutely. Like, of course we did, right? Because then we would be knowledgeable about it. It would be fun. We could interact with them around it. And we gave them the exposure. We let them try the sports. And then we also had them try other things. We watched my daughter struggle through soccer. We watched my son take his gymnastics class that he hated. We watched basketball, and you guys, I hate basketball. We did the baseball camps. Like, we exposed them to other prospective passions, to the full palette, if you will, right? And let them choose what they wanted to run after passionately. And that's just one simple example, but like, is there something that your child is maybe interested and intrigued by? Maybe it's not a sport. Maybe it's by acting. Maybe it's by painting. Maybe it's by an instrument. Maybe they love technology. They love tinkering with their hands. They love building things. And you're maybe being a little overbearing. Maybe that's not the right word, but like where you're kind of like suffocating them of, no, we're going to be over here. We're going to be doing this. We're practicing piano. We're practicing piano. We're practicing piano. That's what I did. And can they get good at it? Yeah. Like, you practice anything enough, you can get good at it, but will they be passionate about the future, about that avenue in the future? And what the studies found was that when you're an overbearing parent, when you're forcing them down one path or a couple paths over here, instead of letting them explore and choose their own, the likelihood that they're going to find and operate in their passion, and these were longitudinal studies, so they were over time. So they looked at the way these kids were parented, and then they looked at them in the future. The ones to find and develop a true passion later in life, it was inhibited by overbearing parenting. Because what happened is they found intrinsic motivation to be very challenging. They needed extrinsic motivation. They needed mom telling them what to do. They needed dad telling them what to do. Like, and it can just be like the little things. Like, they needed mom to tell them how to get their breakfast in the morning. They needed a dad to tell them what should they eat. They needed mom to tell them how to do their laundry. They needed dad, like the little baby things where it's like you're wrapping your arms around them. You're like, I'm being a good mom because I'm doing everything for them, or I'm protecting them, or I'm always there. But how much are they learning and growing how to be independent, but how to find their own intrinsic motivation? Do you guys know the difference of those? Your intrinsic motivation versus your extrinsic. Your extrinsic motivation is something brought upon you. For a parenting, extrinsic motivation would be you saying, hey, you're going to do this. You're going to get the goal. It might not even be motivation. It might be lecturing at them, or maybe it is, I'll get you this if you get good grades. I'll do this for you if you get that new skill. That's extrinsic motivation. It's not coming from themselves, right? So developing intrinsic motivation in a person, in a little being, requires that you give them a little space. And I know that this is hard. Like, this is truthfully hard. Like, my kids are right now, they're making some different decisions about their lives and their sports. And it's not my job. I provide information for them, but it's not my job to tell them what path to take, because then I'm the one conducting their lives up there and leading them down a path that maybe they don't want to even be at. It's my job to love on them and support them and provide the different maybe mindsets. Like, here's some different thoughts to choose through. Now you go through and you figure that out for yourself. And what they found with that is when you start to teach intrinsic motivation, they go through this process of discovery of who they really are, what they really love. They're more apt to find passions in the future. And this can happen too, because if you get good at something when you're little, like you're 4 years old and you start something, and maybe it's not your passion, but you are dang good at it, you can lose the insight of all of those other things exploratively that you would have been passionate about, where you never truly find your thing. Not to say that it's bad. This is probably a lot of Olympic athletes, right? Like, that just is what it is. But later on in their lives, you'll see that they're finding like, wow, what else is out there in this world that I can find passion around, because that chapter of my life has ended. So allowing our little ones a little space, a little breathing room, a little creativity, a little discovery, and creating a safe environment to them, like for them to have intrinsic motivation instead of you pushing, telling, and seeing what happens, I just think would be a cool way to help develop our little ones knowing what they actually want instead of becoming mom and becoming dad. Even if you're rock solid awesome, because most of you guys that jump on, like, you're pretty freaking incredible. So if you like duplicated yourself, wouldn't it be awesome? But guess what? That's not the way that it works, right? You don't want another person that's exactly the same as you. You want somebody who shines as bright as they can in the way that makes them shine, that's special to them. So that's my parenting talk today. Maybe you liked it. Maybe you hated it. Maybe you think, Cal, I love spoiling and being all over my little one, and I don't care if they don't know how to do anything for themselves, and they're always going to need some extrinsic motivation to get off the couch in the morning. That's perfect. That's just have the knowledge base of what you're creating, that you have the potential and the possibility of turning that around. If you do want a little person who gets out of bed by themselves, makes their own breakfast, creates their own lifestyle, goes for their own goals, works for A's, not because you're giving them something to give them A's, goes to the sport because they love it, and contributes to society in a positive way because they're doing what they're passionate about. That goes for us too. I'm not even getting into that because I feel like I just talked for like 15 minutes. And if this is your first time joining and you're wondering what the heck's going on, then, I totally get that. I want to read what Jody's talking about because you're like rocking it. Yes. So she's talking about like giving them a push when they find themselves at a standstill. They're going to wonder why their parents let them quit and stuff. I totally agree, where like they find something and it gets hard and they quit, right? And that can have the reverse effect, because the second something gets tough, they can walk away. So it's also part of us to be like, you made a commitment to this. You're going to commit to that to the end of the thing. Maybe that pushes you through that hard time, right? But also letting them explore other areas, but it doesn't give you the excuse to quit. Thank you for contributing that, because that is a huge point. Otherwise, you'll never find your passion, right? You'll just be hopping from pond to pond to pond to pond to pond to pond to pond and like bolting the second it gets tough. So that's an awesome point. Thank you guys so much. Have a good day. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
Thank you for joining, and I hope you see that perspective does reveal miracles as we decide to choose joy in our lives. If this has positively affected you at all, share with your friends, you guys. Sharing is caring, and do not forget to subscribe. We will be talking to you soon. Bye.